Hi everybody, it's Gardener Julia here, and we are back for another virtual garden class. First, I want to welcome you into the garden that I'm in. I'm in the Lincoln Park garden, and behind me have this beautiful blooming hellebore here. Today, our focus is on plant parts, particularly one plant part that actually is the one that is underground and we can't see. Roots. Today we'll be talking about roots, specifically tree roots. What we'll do today is we're going to learn about how trees communicate using their roots, and then I'll show you how you can use your feet to measure how large the root system is below our trees. Then I'll challenge you to get outside and try it yourself. Before we start, I want to show you the sign language sign for plant. Here it goes. Plant. It's almost like a little plant growing. A cool thing is that the word plant is also the same word for grow. All right, let's quickly review the 6 plant parts. First, we know that the roots are underground. Recently, we got a bunch of snow here in Portland just a few weeks ago. What roots usually do is that they are able to keep trees stable to the ground, even with really strong winds, rains, ice, and snow. But our storm was so bad that we saw, a lot of trees that were uprooted and had fallen over. 2, stems. Stems hold the plant up straight, and they transport water and nutrients from the roots up to the rest of the plant. Do trees have stems? What are the stems on trees called? The trunk. On to leaves. What do leaves do? Leaves are the photosynthesizers of the plant. Plant leaves are flat and wide, and they are able to soak up all of that sunshine and turn it into energy for the plant. The leaf is also the place that plants release oxygen that you and I breathe all the time. Flowers. Flowers are just a stage of development. So a flower is there to attract bees and pollinators so that its flowers can become pollinated, and that flower turns into a fruit, and that fruit is a protective layer on what is so precious on the inside of that fruit. What is the last and final part of our plant parts? The seeds. And of course, the seed is the start of a new plant life. So, like I said, we're just going to be focusing on the roots of our trees today. What do you already know about the roots of trees? Have you ever heard that trees actually communicate with each other? They do that by talking to each other through their roots. Trees, like the one behind me, partners up with a type of mushroom called a mycorrhizae mushroom. This type of mushroom will attach onto the root of one tree, and it will web out and attach to the root of another tree. So these two trees use the mycelium network to talk to each other, even if their roots are very far apart from each other. Some of the things that trees communicate about are about disease and pests. If one tree is being attacked by a pest, it can send a message to another tree through those roots. Sometimes even there can be a mother tree, and she will share her nutrients and sugars with all of her maybe teeny tiny saplings that might need a little bit of care and help getting started. So roots are very, very, very important for things like our trees. Some tree root systems can spread up to a mile, traveling under roads and buildings, sometimes popping up in sidewalks and connecting with other tree roots. I am going to show you a way that you can always figure out just how far tree roots are spreading underneath your feet. All you'll need are your feet and a little bit of basic multiplication. First, start by identifying which tree you want to measure. Then, try and figure out what part of this tree is the canopy. The canopy is the branches. They stretch out wide over the whole tree. On our tree, we can see just how wide those branches are from the center of the tree. This flowering cherry tree has a really wide canopy, right? The roots of trees stretch out 4 to 7 times wider than the canopy. That means that the roots of this tree are probably all the way underneath my feet and maybe far into the other side of the garden. Now that we know what part is the canopy, we're going to use our feet to measure just how wide the canopy goes. Starting with my back against the trunk, I'm going to walk toe to heel and count how many footsteps it takes until I've reached the very end of the canopy. That means that when I look up, I shouldn't see any more branches. I should see blue skies. Great, so I counted about 18 steps from the center of the tree to the very edge of its canopy. We know that tree roots are about 4 to 7 times the length of the tree's canopy. So if I take my number 18 and multiply it by 4, I will get the length of the roots, right? Can you do that math? What is 18 times 4? So 18 times 4 is 72. So my next task is to take 72 steps from the trunk all the way out to see just how long the roots are extending underground. Steps. I am 72 steps away from my tree. Here is where I ended. And over there is where I started. That means that the roots of our tree way over there are stretched all the way underneath the garden and clear to the other side over here. Those are long roots. I am super far away from my tree, but remember, tree roots even extend 7 times the length of their canopy. So that would be almost twice the length of what I just walked. Can you try that math on your own tree? Also remember that tree roots don't just go to the side, they also go down. So the roots of this tree are going really deep down underneath the ground as well. Now that I've tried it on a tree here at the Lincoln Park Garden, I want you to see if you can go outside and find a tree to do this on. Maybe it's a tree in your backyard or front yard. Maybe you can go on a walk and find a tree outside. It could even be a tree that is on the sidewalk. Once you do this, make sure that you take a picture or do your work on your computer so that me and your teacher can see all the work that you do too. Thanks so much for exploring trees and roots with me today. It's almost springtime, which means that there is a lot changing outside. Trees are budding, flowers are starting to bloom, and new plants are sprouting. I encourage you to go outside and take a walk and imagine all of the roots that are underneath your feet. I will see you all next time. Bye.